Today I'm driving the new Hyundai Kona. This thing, it's pretty cool. Let's roll. In 2017, Hyundai decided to expand their lineup and they introduced the Hyundai Kona for the first time ever. Now the Kona, it has different names in Portuguese. In Portugal, in this case, it's called the Kwai, then a different name in China. For us in North America, it's called the Hyundai Kona. It started first with the base petrol engine and then it moved on to the electrified version, and then it became a performance vehicle, which is called the Hyundai Kona N. In fact, I actually ended up reviewing one and take it around the track. Very popular model, specifically the base model. Fast forward to 2023, they introduced this, the 2024 Hyundai Kona. This is the second generation Hyundai Kona, but this is not just the standard Hyundai Kona. This is the Kona NLine Ultimate. This is essentially a fully loaded Hyundai Kona. And today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about the second generation Kona. But before we do that, special thanks goes to great friends at Don Valley North Hyundai. They're a Hyundai dealership located north of Toronto. They were kind enough to allow me to borrow this thing for the day, take it for a drive, and show you everything you need to know about the second generation Hyundai Kona. Now, don't forget, this thing is brand new. It has a lot of features, a very different design to the first generation, and we're going to take it for a drive because it does have slightly different engine in comparison to the first generation. And most importantly, this is the fully loaded. Now, if you want to take this for a spin or check it out in person, don't forget to check out the link in the description below if you want to see this in person because it's pretty cool. Now let us begin with the exterior design. The first thing you notice, this is a complete redesign. This is what you call a different generation. Look at the actual LED front lights. Like for example, this is the daylight running light. It's a full skinny light that starts from the right side, goes all the way to the left, similar to the glasses that I was wearing at the beginning of the video. Moving on to the bottom side, we have a very aggressive design because this is their N-line version, which means there's going to be an N version of this. This is sort of more detuned of the N version. On the side profile here, we have these different headlights that you don't see mostly at the top. Now they're moved down here. You also get the turning signal. You see these three lines over here. Those are the turning signal. Moving on to the front end over here in the center, we have aggressive design for the front bumper with a two-tone design, the glossy black, and then you have the standards beautiful color that this generation comes, and it's the first time that they've introduced this paint color. It's called Meta Blue, which is kind of like blue, gray, silver mixed in one. It's quite an interesting color, and I have to say, it actually looks very mature. The standard N, the performance version of the Kona, had that blue and a red version, which to me didn't look, well, as mature as this. This, in my opinion, makes it look sporty, but a bit luxurious at the same time. Moving on to the side profile, we have the N badge at the top, but what's even more crazy, the fact that this comes with 19-inch wheels. Yes, this thing is equipped with 19-inch wheels. These are 235/45 in the front, sort of like all season. And of course, we have 235/45 the backside. So you have a standard size. These are not staggered because it is an all-wheel drive. Moving on to the side profile at the back over here, continuing with the same design of the front end, we have the rear tail lights. These are similar to that. So you have your turning signal, reverse, and the brake lights. And then the same design from the front continues here with that skinny light for the rear side. This is for the daylight running lights, which stays on at the same time. We have the Kona badge in the center just below the Hyundai badge. And then at the top, it gets even more interesting because now we have this aggressive spoiler that we didn't see before in the Kona NLine. This is designed a bit more aggressive. Than we have the center light, brake light. Moving on to the bottom, we have an aggressive diffuser, which I very much enjoy. And then on the side over there, we have a twin exhaust tips, which it is functional. These are not fake. These are actual exhaust tips that continue all the way to the back. Really appreciate that they didn't just put there for looks. It actually works. The back side, in my opinion, now that I'm looking at it, looks a little bit better than the front one. I don't know. I have a very sort of different opinion about the design of this car. Front end, back end, I'm still getting used to it. But overall, I have to say it does look better than the outgoing first generation Kona. I love the carved out part over here, specifically the side profile, very different to the previous generation, a very aggressive look with the end line. We have the side skirt at the bottom over there, which again gives it that sporty feeling. And when you open the door, you're welcomed by something pretty cool in my opinion. There's this racing flag here on the doorstep, which I think really complements the car. Now let's talk about this. This is the key fob. You've seen this before. It's in the Ioniq 6. And this is the new key fob for the Hyundai Kona. Now, what's something cool about this is, if you come closer, it's essentially the H. They've done a pretty good job putting these buttons in between the lines. I think that's a very smart design. It is functional and smart at the same time. But what's even smarter, in my opinion, is the fact that they've included a new tech feature in the Kona. Let me show you. First of all, we'll press the button and then hold it. And if you look carefully, yeah, you got that right. Those vents here, they open up. Now, if we do something quite interesting, is the buttons located onto the side. You press the first one. Check this out. Oh yeah. So this is essentially remote parking. You can do this with the buttons located onto the side over here, and then you can also go into reverse. It has sensors all around. It's crazy that are including this in the Kona, which is not even their top model. And that's it. Now, if we get closer, I want to show you something pretty cool in here. Let's turn off the car. Nice. That is pretty cool. Now, what's even more important about the second generation Kona is the fact that this is bigger, meaning that it has a longer wheelbase, it's longer overall, and it is wider in comparison to the first generation. I believe it's about 6 inches longer in comparison to the outgoing model, which means you get a lot more space on the inside and you get more space in here. Now, this might look a bit small on the outside, but it's big on the inside. A lot of cargo area, probably one of the best in class for cargo space behind the second row. And you can also fold the second row seats in here to get yourself some extra space. And what I love about it is they've included this weight rating, which gives you a max load of 130 pounds. So that way you don't put a lot of weight onto this. And then you open that, you get more space underneath here, which again, it's nice to have in case if you wanted to use as an extra compartment. It does come with a cover over here, which I've mentioned previously. This comes handy if you live in California. You know how those things are in California. But with the Ultimate package, we don't get a powered tailgates. It is manually closed. There you go. You have the handle over here. You pull that and you close it manually, which I think it's not a really big deal. It's nice to have it, but this doesn't come with it. Now let's get into the second row and let me show you what you get in here. First of all, you get more legroom overall in the second generation. We have this beautiful suede finish interior with the NLine package, of course, that performance theme all around with the red stitching around this area, the suede and the leather at the top. We have a center armrest, which means you can use the cup holders, and then you have USB-C ports because everything is USB-C now, and thankfully Apple has joined the trail of the USB-C right now. You have the red stitching around the seats, beautiful liner at the top. There is a single sunroof. There's no moon roof, or there's no panoramic roof in this case. But what I do have to say is the fact that you don't get heated seats in the second row. Now let's talk about space overall. Here we go. I'm about 6'2", which means I'm pretty tall, right? And I fit nice and comfortably here. Tons of headroom, leg room. It's nice and comfortable. Great visibility all around. And you also have these little windows on the side here for extra light, which does help, and also extra visibility for the driver. It's a nice interior. It does feel a bit roomier in comparison to the outgoing model, but it's very small that it's very hard to give you a bigger perspective on how much bigger this thing is. But I do feel for someone my height, it's nice and comfortable. I could be a passenger here easily. But let's jump into the front, because that's where it gets pretty interesting. You get keyless entry with this package, and moving on to the side here, we have the switches for the rear windows, the front windows, and the side mirrors. Same thing here with a side step. You get this racing flag, which I think really complements the car, being an N-Line. And then at the bottom, we have the switches. Now, for this package, the driver's side has full power seats, but the passenger doesn't. But I kind of like this design. It looks like a proper seats. Very, very, very different. And then the seats in the front, of course, have the N badge at the top. We have the beautiful suede with the red lines in the middle, and you have the red stitching all around on the headrest as well. The same thing for the steering wheel with the N-Line. In this case, you get this racing steering wheel with the red stitching around the N badge at the bottom. Totally different steering wheel. And then we jump inside. This is quite interesting too, because even the interior has that racing theme, including this red line that you see coming from the right side in the center, going all the way across into the left side. It gives you a different experience of how this car is designed, which I do appreciate. And most importantly, the steering wheel is different. You got these lines that you see here, different design from the outgoing model. Then onto the top over here, we have the cruise control with lane assist, gap assist, and sort of like a self-driving mode. On the right side, we have your voice control, the radio, and the phone call answering. And at the bottom over here, it has this N badge to let you know that this is not just the standard Kona. Now, let's start it up. And first of all, we have the button located into the side here. And look at that. Now, this is very important to mention, the fact that this is what the next Hyundai cars are going to be like, with this sort of infotainment display, which, again, it's the new user interface, in this case, they're going to use for the Hyundai models. Now, let's talk about the cluster first, because it's got something new. First of all, you have seen this package before, included in some other vehicles. It's the turning signal, which is a blind spot assist camera in this case. You have it for both sides, and now it's available on the new Kona. Then you go to the actual settings in here. For the center part, you have a lot of information displayed. That's your lane assist. In this case, we have your trip, your refueling. It also comes with tire pressure monitor, which is very, very important for a car at the price level that this is. Then you have your power unit going to each wheel. This will tell you which wheel is taking the most power, because this is an all-wheel drive. It's the H-Track from Hyundai. I like the design. It's very simple. The cluster is pretty much like a standard one, digital, but not too much information displaying at the same time, just enough. Moving on to the center here, this is our massive 12.3 inch, I believe, display. There's also a smaller one with different trim, but this is the fully loaded. Now, if we look carefully, this is a new interface. If you have seen the previous Hyundai cars, it is touchscreen, and they've included extra buttons over here for easy access. So in case if you need your media, your map, and so on, I like that it's not just screen. There's also buttons for easy access, which I do appreciate. There's a built-in navigation system, which is easy to use, very intuitive, very fast. It comes with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have your voice memo, phone projection, weather, valet mode. This comes with a valet mode, which is pretty crazy. You have your notifications, and then maintenance as well. You go into your setup. Again, this looks very much like a tablet, easy to use. You can adjust the cluster here. There is different modes that you can change. You got your illumination from inside, camera settings. You have your content selection as well, whatever you want it to be displayed. Going back into here, you have your Blue Link. This is essentially equipped with a connectivity through your phone and a digital key. So with your digital key, you can open and lock the vehicle through that digital key. And then you move on to the bottom side over here, we have a wireless charging pad, USB-C ports. You got 2 in here, and each one represents different functions. And then there's a 12 volts, which is hidden, but then if you press that, it pops out. The wireless charging pad, let me try my phone quickly. I have a giant phone in here. You slide your phone. Oh, it actually works this way. So there you go. The phone charges this way. I actually find this easier because you just take your phone, slide it back in, and there you go. Now the phone is charging, which I really find it easy. On top of that, underneath here, we have your buttons for the heated seats and ventilated seats with 3 levels for both passenger and the driver's side. And this comes with a 360 camera, but not just that. This is the first time they've included a 360 camera in here. It also comes with a 3D version, so you can see around the vehicle. Like, it's really nice, sharp, very sharp. You can see my tripod parked right on the sides, different view, easy to use. This is something that you have seen it before. It's not the first time they've used this kind of design, but it's the first time they've included in the Kona, which again comes in real handy. Then we move into the center. Over here we have more things. We got 2 cup holders. These you have seen before. You can slide them like that, and then you can open them like that. But there's also a lot of space in here for your phone, for example, your key or coins or whatever. And then moving on to the center area here, we have the armrest. This is removable, so in case if you need to clean it, so you put your coins or I don't know, anything else that works with it. And then I have my glasses, which are not part of this car. Now, another design feature that I've included with the Kona is this gear knob. Unlike the outgoing model, this has it on the side. This is something you have seen with the Ioniq 6. It's the new design that Hyundai is using. So basically, to go into reverse, you do that. To go into park, you press the button over here, and it goes into park. And to go into drive, you go into drive. That's it. But how do you go into neutral? That's a good question, right? There you go. You do it once. So let's just do that again to show you. That's into drive. That's to reverse. And then you just go once and it goes into neutral. Now, in terms of space overall, it's very roomy in the front row. For me as a driver, I'm tall, 6'2" in this case. Lots of leg room, lots of room around this area, room around here. Easy to have a passenger on the side here for someone my height. Overall, a great experience, and I love the interior. This is a really nice, well done design. I love the screens, easy to use, and the information is where it should be. So it's not too complicated, and it doesn't really distract you from anything or trying to figure out things where they are. It's easy to find them in here, and most importantly, you still have buttons. I kind of like this design. But the next thing I want to talk about is how it drives. Okay, let's talk about the new Kona. What do we have under the hood? Well, you have 2 engine options. There is a 2-liter one, and then the one that we're driving today, it's a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine. Makes 190 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Uses an 8-speed automatic transmission, unlike the 2-liter, which uses an IVT. And that's offering front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. This is an all-wheel drive paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which does pretty well. And this got sport modes, which I'm driving right now. Put your foot down, and it goes. What's even better is the fact that it's actually all-wheel drive as an N-line, which it's pretty insane to think about it. It's 190 horsepower. Price-wise, in Canada, this starts at about $28,000, which is the base model. The Ultimate N-Line, starts at about $39,000 Canadian, which would be about $32,000 USD. It's actually well priced because you get so much tech. In fact, what's the point of getting the Tucson if this thing offers essentially the same tech features? It's gonna make it very hard for Hyundai making an excuse for the Tucson, unless the new Tucson is gonna be bigger and better, then it's a different case. But at this price level and tech features and all that, I think this is a far better deal than the Tucson at this point. It's got great technology, it's got great engine. If you don't want this, you want something more fuel efficient, and you get the options. And at the same time, the price is where I think this is going to win big in comparison to other models. It's spacious on the inside. For me that I'm 6'2", it's nice and comfortable. Maybe I can zoom in, zoom out. No, we're good. And I gotta remove these glasses. I kind of like them because they look the same as the car. But most importantly, it's comfortable. It's very, very comfortable. You put your foot down, it's got the power. And with this package, we have proper cruise control. I'm gonna set it up into this, that, and it essentially drives itself. I don't have to do much. Keeps you within the lane, keeps the speed, keeps the distance, does a great job. Monitors the roads constantly to make sure that you're not getting too close to the left side or the right side, keeps the speed limit. And it changes the speed limit as you change speed, which is very handy. I like this color that this car comes with. This color, the matte blue, it's really nice touch, I think. It makes the car look a bit more conservative, but yet mature at the same time. The previous one didn't look as great on the outside. This is a bit more bulky, kind of like it's gone to the gym in my opinion. The engine is very zippy. The transmission, it's 8-speed, which in my opinion is a huge deal. I'm not a big fan of their IVT or CVTs in general. You got these pedal shifters behind, you can play around if you want to. There's a drive mode at the bottom over here, the sports, normal, snow mode. It's very roomy here. It's missing heads-up display, which I don't think it's a big deal, but maybe for some people. It would be nice to have a heads-up display, but it's also getting a lot of features in here. This is fully loaded. It's quite impressive what they can do with that kind of money that offer all those tech features. The seats are comfortable. I wish the passenger seat had power seats with this package. That would be nice too. My wife would hate that because she doesn't want to be a passenger in a car that doesn't have power seats for the passenger. So that might be a deal breaker for me. But other than that, I still think it's a great package overall. I like the exterior design of it's very different, very unique. But Hyundai is known to make these kind of designs. They're very unique to their style, so it's not a shock. I like this, really do.